Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach, and today we have with us Dr. Kelly Henry, who is the Customer Experience Doctor. Kelly, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate the opportunity.
Hey, I'm looking forward to talking with you because I just love the expert title, the being able to really fine-tune customer experience and seeing what that means for a business, because it really is, the first thing that pops in my mind is like the old Maya Angelou quote, which is, people will forget what you do to them or what you say to them, but they will never forget how you make them feel. So I know that that's a big part of this customer experience that you work with. So give us a little background on yourself in your industry, and then what led you to then fine-tune your practice into customer experience.
Absolutely. I'm a retired chiropractor. I practiced for approximately 20 years in the New Mexico area, near where my wife was from, and built up two very successful practices there, and then was able to sell out in 2018. What ultimately steered me into the customer service realm is when I first moved to the New Mexico area, the community where we lived, smaller community, not a whole lot of businesses, and most of the businesses have been there for years, and they weren't exactly stellar in their customer service. And several of the businesses didn't necessarily make us feel very welcome, didn't make us feel very comfortable, almost like we were an inconvenience, and I just hated that. And so I made a decision very early on when I opened my clinics that we were going to do differently. We were going to treat our patients well, make them feel valuable, and I didn't do it to thinking forward to making it, a business decision and a foundation for it, and it helped my businesses grow. It just was simply because I didn't like the way I was being treated, so I wanted to do something different. Yeah. But as we got into it, I could see the impact on my patients and the communication they had because of it, and just saying, hey, we love how we're treated here, and how it stimulated referrals and really piqued my interest into doing it better and to understanding it more, and trial and error and implementing better and practices as far as customer service in my clinic. And that's ultimately what started this 20-year journey of customer service, and ultimately what I'm doing now in coaching and consulting businesses to use it to influence and grow their businesses.
And I'm certain that you look back over your career when you exited out and sold out a couple years ago and said, okay, what are some of the takeaways, or what are some of the key drivers of success? And, should I go and coach other chiropractors, since I had a track record of success? But you saw that customer service and customer experience was such that strong thread. And it's really curious that, I've interviewed many chiropractors on my podcast, and so many times I say, hey, what got you into chiropractic? And they'll give a story very similar. Everyone is very similar. Well, when I was growing up, I had this accident, and, I had this horrible pain, and no one could fix it until I went to this chiropractor, and wow, it changed my life. I wanted to do the same for others. And you're telling the same story with customer service. So I love that thread and that story. And it's interesting. Literally about 2 weeks ago, one of my kids made a comment that can be the launching point now of our next point. And they're all teenagers now, but they had some thing. I forget exactly what it was, but they actually said the words, whatever happened to the old saying, the customer's always right? So whatever they were talking about was they weren't treated too well in whatever retail establishment. So talk a little bit about the customer's always right, which is, harkens way back in the day. And I've heard some pundits and some contrarians in recent years past, say that is not the case. The customer's not always right. Doesn't mean you need to be mean to them, but it needs to say, hey, we can accommodate this. Here's why, but let's see what we can do. But talk a little bit about what happens when you take the mentality of the customer's always right. How can that work well for the business? And then what are some lines on the other side of the equation where it's like, if you just take that at face value and the customer's always right, maybe they're not always right?
I tend to, and my philosophy, my coaching is more along those lines, that the customer actually isn't always right. But you have to remember the customer is still your customer, even if they're wrong. And it all goes back to how you handle it. And really the very premise of customer service is to serve and make that customer feel valuable and important. Even if they're wrong, you can still handle the situation and make the customer feel valued and important and save face and make them still feel good about yourself and still feel good about your business. And want to stick with you because you have that relationship with them. So now, that being said, more times than not, I find that the customer is right. And, a lot of businesses, it goes down to pride is what it amounts to. And putting blame. We play the blame game, and when a business does that, when they want to blame the customer when the business is wrong, or they don't want to own up to a mistake, or they don't want to apologize for a mistake, that is a huge knock against customer service. And that is a huge driver of patients, customers, consumers, clients leaving a business when a business, a company will not own up to their mistakes and keep that mentality of the customer is right, and the business can be wrong, and we need to be able to put our pride aside, acknowledge that, and do a better job of making the customer feel comfortable and welcome.
And so many times it's that the customer just wants to be heard. So what you said to me sparks a question that came up literally this morning at the time of this recording. I have a client that is in the leasing and rental space. They rent apartments and leasing and things like that, property management. And they had a customer send them in feedback that is like pretty negative, right? You didn't communicate well, and you tried multiple times to figure out why you denied my application, and you didn't give us, any feedback or response. And I reached out to the client, and they said he's just mad because he got denied due to rent delinquencies to past landlords. So that fits right with what you said. They're lashing out. So it's not even the business owner lashing out. This is now the customer that didn't get what they want. They're lashing out and diverting. They made past delinquent payments, but weren't taking ownership of that. And so now they're trying to make it, the company's fault. Like, you didn't have any clarity or tell me what the deal is. They knew what the problem was. So I think we find that that's human nature. Sure. I'm not wrong. It's because of my whatever. It's because you, or it's because society. And we find that. So what do you train and teach your clients you work with to recognize that? Because they might get some flare up from a customer in the realm of the customer's always right. How do you teach them to say, okay, absorb it, take it. Maybe it's a conversation and it's live and you don't want to respond. You go, okay, good, great feedback. Thank you for letting me know while you're thinking how to respond. Now it's easier when it's an email or whatever, because you can wait an hour or two and kind of formulate a response. But how do you teach your clients to assess the response they're getting, from a logical standpoint rather than, kind of reacting?
And what you just said is what I teach my clients. You need to practice customer service from a proactive standpoint, not a reactive standpoint.
Yeah.
So being proactive, you have the mentality that you are going to be the best part of that customer's day. And it doesn't matter if the customer's upset about something, if they're having a bad day, they're angry, they're sad, whatever the case may be, you don't react to that. You are proactive and try to bring that customer up. And that makes all the difference. When you're playing reactive, all you're going to do is fall into whatever emotion basically that customer is. So to your example, if the customer is upset and irritated, and even if they know it was their problem and you're going to fight that battle at their level, nobody wins there. And particularly not the business, and you're just going to push the customer out the door. So being proactive is just saying, I don't care how this customer comes in. If they're upset, irritated, I'm going to take the higher road. I'm going to continue to smile. I'm still going to try to put a smile on their face and make them feel valuable, and help them understand the situation, but I'm going to do it from a proactive standpoint. The other side of that too, and something that goes very much along with that, is having empathy, and try to put yourself in the other person's shoes. So the employees putting themselves in the customer's shoes, and understand that these people have problems and there's issues, and you just don't know, the backstory really most of the time for your customers when they're coming in a bad mood, so to speak, or angry or upset or sad or whatever the case may be, and really try to understand that. And again, keeping that in mind, putting yourself in their shoes, and then being proactive and trying to build them up, make them feel valued and important. That goes a long way in keeping issues at bay, and not blowing things up, but also, taking a potential firestorm, so to speak, of a customer being upset, and helping them understand, hey, we're really here for you, and we want to help you. We want to help you any way we can. And that creates an extra bond, and can ultimately create just even a greater level of loyalty for those customers.
And interesting you say that, because this is the perfect time to bring up my point I just briefly alluded to a second ago. Don't you find when a flare-up happens, and when you handle it the right way as a business, and that customer kind of goes, thank you. It's almost like you could just see them exhale, and they were heard, and now it's like your best buddies, and it's like, oh, no, it's no big deal. Let's go ahead. And it's almost like they just totally back down, not because you were confrontational, but because you handled the right way. So when that happens, it's almost like, wow, that's like the magic bullet. This stuff really does work, and it makes you feel like, and this would never, ever, ever be recommended, but it's almost like you want to orchestrate this flare-up so that you can come in and be the hero, and then they see you. So you never want that to happen, but you can realize that when you do it the right way, many times, not all the times, but many times, that formula is that customer is just like even stronger than it was before. That relationship can even grow stronger.
Absolutely, and there's statistics to back that up, and that's something that I coach my clients on handling service mistakes. Whether it's from a business standpoint or even the customer standpoint, and really the key component and the thing that will calm the situation down quicker than anything is for the employee or the business to apologize. And so if it's the business's problem, to apologize immediately and own up to the fact that they dropped the ball. And again, that just has such a calming effect on the situation and the customer, but also to apologize if it's the customer's fault, and not necessarily, you're not lying and not trying to take responsibility and saying, hey, we messed up, when it's clearly the customer's fault. But you can say something like, I apologize this happened to you, or I apologize you're going through this. We've had other customers with the same situation. And again, it just takes the sting off of the customer, and again helps them to save face, and like you said, calms them down, and kind of, hey, okay, they're on my side. I can calm down, and they're going to help me through this. So,
and it sounds cliche to say many of these kinds of things. I get it. It sounds easier to say than actually do it. But maybe when you see it in action and working like we just described once, then it's like, oh, well, maybe I can do that again. And it's kind of like you get that little pop of motivation, like, well, this worked and it wasn't that hard. I can do that again. And you have to, in the moment, think, what is that person going? What news did they get 5 minutes before they called me or saw that thing? Maybe their day just went, crumbling down the hill, and then whatever they're concerned about happened, and then they call you about it. And maybe it's not really that thing. Maybe it's what else they're dealing with. So it really does take having that mindset of what else is going on. It's maybe not even that thing that they're even complaining about, right? And
9 times out of 10, it's not.
Yeah.
And I preach this to my clients, and I preach it to my office staff in my clinics, that, it doesn't matter how the patient comes in, the client customer comes in, your job is to put a smile on their face. Your job is to be the best part of that patient's day, that customer's day. And that was my mission statement in my clinics. That is what I teach my clients to take on as their mission statement. Again, being proactive, regardless of what the patient, customer, consumer looks like, acts like, you're gonna improve their day from them interacting with you.
So I know that you kind of encapsulated all of your, best practices with, the customer service and why this works to start your consulting firm. And then now you put this together into a book. Tell us a little bit about the book and what people will learn when they read it.
Absolutely. The book is entitled Define and Deliver Exceptional Customer Service, Proven Strategies to Maximize Profits. And like you mentioned, what I've done is encapsulated very simplistic, easy ideas, principles, rules, and actions. And really that's been my philosophy all my life. In practice, that's what I did in my coaching now, and then these principles that I teach as far as customer service. It's the simple, easy things that if you will lay a foundation, put this as foundation principle in your business, and then just do them consistently, it will make a tremendous difference. And that's what the book is all about. The simple, easy principles, rules, ideas, and actions. Take hold of them, implement them immediately, be consistent with them, and then reap the rewards.
And have you ever heard of the book by Darren Hardy called The Compound Effect?
Absolutely. I've read it a few times.
Yeah, I love it, and it kind of made me think of that when you were describing your book, because it doesn't mean that a business owner needs to now transform their entire organization overnight and do everything perfectly. It means that you just kind of do this one little thing and then do the next little thing, and then when you see that work, then you can add a little bit more and then do this more consistently. So it's not some transformation you have to roll your eyes and go, we don't have time for this. It's just these little things that start building on each other. Is that a good thought?
Exactly, and that's something I find as I talk to business owners and do presentations, that they feel like, that's a great idea, but we just don't have the time. We can't implement it. We can't, I've got so much else going on, business and life. I just don't have time to do this. And I tell them, this is not that hard. It's very simple, easy to do. It's just taking a piece at a time, implement it, stay with it consistently, and it'll grow from there. So. Awesome.
Well, I just really enjoy talking with you today, Kelly. It's just been some good information. Give our readers a good place that they can learn more about your business, as well as pick up a copy of your book.
Absolutely. My website is drkellyhenry.com. And you can find me on LinkedIn under Dr. Kelly Henry, Instagram, Dr. Kelly Henry, and Facebook. So pretty simple. If you can remember that, you can find me. My book, you can learn more about it on my website, and then you can find it anywhere you want to buy books: Amazon, Audible, all the platforms. So check it out. It can definitely transform your business.
I really appreciate that. I'll make sure we have the links in the show notes for you. And Kelly, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate the opportunity.
You're welcome.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneursradio.com.